we're still dissecting the former President Olusegun Obasanjo's letter to the incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari, and today we have Dr. Austin Nweze, the president of the Association of Outsourcing Professionals of Nigeria, and also lecturer at the Lagos Pan-Atlantic University. Dr. Austin, it's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Reactions continue to trail President Olusegun Obasanjo's letter to the incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari. What was for your first? What's your perspective on that letter? Let's get your view on it.
Well, we have seen a precedent. Previous letters have been written, and the outcome of those letters to those who, the beneficiaries of those letters. One thing people don't know is that Obasanjo is not just an ordinary person, but, you may like him or hate him, but there's a reason why he's still alive today. And it's all about the grace of God in his life. And for the role that he is still playing, is still relevant, both in the domestic setting and also in the international community. He still represents Africa one way or the other in international scene. And nobody can take it away from him. And when he opens his mouth to talk, don't forget, last time he wrote a similar letter to President Jonathan then, former president. And we have seen the outcome of that. And a similar letter has also been written to the incumbent, President Muhammadu Buhari. And we are saying that, look, don't just discountenance this. Wisdom, is, it said that wisdom is profitable to direct. They should adhere to the voice of wisdom, because Obasanjo has spoken the mind of every Nigerian. Even before he wrote that letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, Nigerians have been crying out. Nobody is happy about what is going on. There is nothing actually working. Nigerians are suffering. And Nigerians are saying that we cannot afford to have this man again for another 4 years. That Nigerians love him, and Nigeria has been so good to him. And it's telling him, go and take care of your health. This is 2018. We are in the 10 years into knowledge economy. And knowledge economy requires that, you require some level of intelligence to be able to articulate what is going on in the world. I'm a student of presidential, character. I study presidential character. I monitor presidents. And I know within the 100 days in office what that president will do. And during Buhari's 100 days in office, I made my conclusion, because he failed in 3 major areas. One major area is the president worldview. And we have seen that this President Muhammadu Buhari, is out of touch, out of tune with what is going on in the world today. We are back to 1983-84. The same policies, similar policies that happened in 1984 is exactly what is happening now. It cannot work. Nigerians have become more educated. By the time in 1983-84, Nigeria's literacy level was about 25-27%. But today, that number has doubled. Technology has made it possible for Nigerians to be more sophisticated. And you can no longer govern the millennials even, and even the what Americans would call the baby boomers. Everybody, we are more sophisticated now. Literacy level has increased. Okay, so, and we are running a democracy. So, the voice of reason simply says, step aside. And that was exactly what Obasanjo communicated to him. Okay, and it's just an advice. If he likes, he takes it. If he doesn't like, he can go back to the polls. But even before then, I had actually said that 2017 that he will be a great statesman, especially during that period that he was sick. If he could just resign honorably and say, look, because of health reasons, I'm stepping aside, so that Nigeria can, for the sake of Nigeria. But he didn't do that. And even when the wife cried out, Aisha Buhari cried out, still, those that he surrounded himself with, who are also interested in what they can benefit from it, and ignored what the wife Aisha said, and asked the man to. And even when you listen to the comment that he made when some people visited him recently, he said that as he is locked up in this place, like as he is, instead of saying as in whether it was a mistake or not, but he said as he was locked up in this place, we can see that yes, the man is under, like the wife said, is under, he's being held hostage by some vested interests. So these are some of the things going on in the country. It will serve the nation well if he does the honorable thing by stepping aside.
Now, let me take you up on the reaction from the president's especially the reaction from the Minister of Information yesterday that President Obasanjo has not been in tune with the developments that are taking place, and it rolled out some indices. Why does that response to that letter, is that what Nigerians expected?
No, but the man is doing his job. Lai Mohammed is doing his job. Do you expect him to say something to the contrary? No. He's doing his job. His job is a spokesman or for the party, for the government. So he must defend, the person that is paying him salary or whatever they call the allowances. So you don't expect him to say, okay, yeah, Obasanjo, right? No, they must defend it. So don't blame him for that. But again, as a person, he didn't speak as Lai Mohammed. He spoke as an official of the government. But within Lai Mohammed, when you meet him one-on-one, he expresses regret. He's not happy. Even though the ministers that are close to him, they're not happy about what's going on. But what can they do? They have to save face. So Lai Mohammed's reaction, some of the indices he reeled out and all that. But the question is, why, if the economy is improving, for instance, why are Nigerians still hungry? Why is it not impacting in the lives of Nigerians? These are all policy choices, bad or wrong policy choices they made. And again, look at the capability and the capacity of the individuals who are policymakers, who are running the government. You find that they are also out of tune with the current realities. So these are some of the things going on. There's no way the economy will do any better than it's doing, when your interest rate is still high. Because interest rate has a way of influencing the entire economy. And once you want to expand, the choices before the government could be, look, the government could say, look, we want to expand the economy. And how do you expand the economy? You reduce the interest rate. Even during the crisis, when you have a recession or the crisis in the economy, what government does is to expand and by reducing interest rate. Rather than CBN reducing interest rate, they still either maintain at 15 or 17%. It's not coming down. And they're doing fighting inflation targeting. And this is not the time to do inflation target. I keep quarreling with that policy. There's no need for you as a developing nation to begin to fight inflation. Even the US and Britain, during the 2009 or during the crisis, interest rate was 0 because they can get cheap funds. Nigerian products are not competitive out there. because of high cost of production. The power, energy, constitute between 65 and 85% of manufacturing component. And do we have it? We need to provide our own. I know, and again, to power your generator, you have to buy diesel or petrol. And how much is petrol? 145? They're even thinking of increasing it. So, if you run your generator, it's expensive. There is no NEPA to actually generate for you to run your business. So, you find that Nigerian businesses are not competitive out there. So it's cheaper for manufacturers to bring in goods. And even the policies, customs, the customs service is by the concept of customs is actually to protect domestic production. But they have turned custom into a money-generating agency of the government. That custom is now declaring profit in the neighborhood of billions and billions of naira. And you can see the result. Domestic manufacturing they're killing it. Where are the tire manufacturing companies? Because of what? Inconsistent policies of the government. So the government on one hand will say, okay, we want to industrialize, want to help businesses, and then on the other hand, kill businesses. So how do we want to industrialize? So the policies are not, really business friendly.
This is so sad because the former president of OBJ actually said Buhari has a poor grasp of the economy. Well, moving away from that, part of the actions the government decided to do was to arrest Babachir Lawal, the former SSG, to the federal government. Is that the kind of response that the Nigerians expected from this government?
Well, at least they responded by, taking action. At least.
What is that?
It's the first, but it's another distraction. You know what this government does is, once they are, you hold them to something that will cause them this, and they bring another throw in. They are mafia managers. They are mafias. And then when a mafia wants to do something, causes confusion all over the place to get whatever they want. So that's what they're doing. Arrest of this man will make Nigerians to calm down. At least he has arrested. But that is just creaming the market. It's not the real this thing. You can't fool Nigerians. Nigerians are more sophisticated now. You can't fool them, once. You can fool them once, but you can't fool them all the time, So, arresting this man doesn't make any sense, It doesn't take whatever the letter that Obasanjo has written or whatever Nigerians feel. Nigerians have even forgotten about that. Okay, go and arrest Maina too. Okay, go and arrest Maina. If you actually want to, prosecute them. In court, take them to court and begin to jail them. You're not. You see, you can't fight corruption. You can't fight corruption. And the strategy, I keep telling them, change your strategy. Your strategy, you use in fighting corruption is not working. When you have a wrong strategy, or you can have a good strategy, but the leadership, we can destroy, if you have bad leadership and a good strategy, that strategy will not work. But even if you have a bad strategy and have good leadership, that strategy, the leadership will also have a way of making the strategy to work. Now we have a bad strategy, we don't have good leadership. So that's why everything is like this. You cannot fight the corruption. You need to rephrase, change the narrative. Rather than fighting corruption, when you fight someone, the person will fight you back. You can advocate to minimize, for people to encourage people to have ethical ways of doing things. Then you set institutions in place to block those, strengthen the institutions where they're weak, to make sure that those who are, the loopholes are blocked so that there's no chance of them doing what they used to do. Then you can also look at the Russian model of fighting corruption. In Russia, those that have been arrested for corruption, government had made a deal with them and say, okay, a percentage of that you will lose. A percentage you keep. That one you lose will be used to set up businesses so that you create employment for other people. And that's the model I like. Even before I saw the Russian model, I had said it during the 2011 election when I contested governorship of my state. And a journalist asked me, will you probe the governor and all that? I said, I have no business probing, just to make a deal. Let that money be used to create jobs for the people. And how do you create jobs? By setting up industries. Government has no business creating jobs. Creating of jobs for government is creating the right environment so that businesses can actually prosper. And that is what this government has refused to do.
Now, Dr. Nweze, let me look at the situation as it is now. OBJ said that the situation that made Nigerians vote Jonathan out of office is against staring Nigerians in the face. Is that an ominous statement?
It is, because one is that Nigerians were tired of corruption. And Jonathan lost his job for that reason. And the APC government promised Nigerians they were going to fight corruption. And they were going to restructure Nigeria. And they were going to make sure that provide security, Boko Haram. Now, all those three major things that they promised. Corruption, people who are even the blind can see that they are corrupt. You're surrounded by those people. Nigerians are crying out that they are corrupt people. 2015 election was the most expensive election since the history of democracy in Nigeria. There's no other election that cost as much as 2015 elections. Where did the money come from? Who are those who sponsored it? Where did they get the money from? Is it not from corrupt this thing? When Buhari took over, I thought that he would be someone, this concept of tragic hero. I thought that he fitted into that role as a tragic hero. But unfortunately, he was either personally or he was ill-advised to do otherwise. Because as he came in through the wrong means, he could have begin to do things right, sacrifice everything. He has nothing to lose, but maintain that legacy. If you had anything any legacy to leave behind. And they forget that they have children. What kind of environment, what kind of a nation do they want to create so that their children will be able to live comfortably? When they die, the society will now come after. Where are Abacha's children? Where are they? Can they come out openly? There's a stigma there. Where are the children of all these people that have ruled us or misruled us? Do they think that once they die, that it doesn't matter to them whatever happened to their children? I think as a father, I want to create an environment where my children can prosper. A better environment. I want to live for my children. And I expect my children to live a better environment for their own children. That's how nations grow. That's how nations are developed. So that you live a better place, so that the future generation will benefit.
Finally, talking about legacy, Chief Obasanjo also talked about the need for a coalition of concerned and the willing, a third force in code. Are we ready for that? Are Nigerians really?
We don't have appetite for that kind of person. The reason is that the poverty level is high. We cannot sustain it. We don't have appetite. Now, how many people, NBS, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, showed that a recent release that over 60 million Nigerians are unemployed. And that goes with underemployment. So how do you want them? People are surviving, trying to make ends. How many people? I mean, you go to your village, for instance, and when they hear that you arrive, you know how many people that come to you to ask for 1,000 naira, 500 naira, There's so much poverty in the land. So they will not be able to, any movement, except it is sponsored. Obasanjo has money. Well, let the sponsors, that kind of with his own money. But for ordinary Nigerian to sit down 1 day, 2 days, and all that, forget it. They don't have the appetite to sustain. Everybody will go about their business. Occupy Lagos happened. Why did it fail? Because people were no longer receiving feeding, daily, those daily this thing. And they were not even able to, do anything that will sustain their families. Everybody went around, when you go there, you eat, you come back home, there's nothing for your children, your wife will give you wahala, and then you begin to say, okay, I beg, let me go and fend for my family. The poverty level is high. The literacy level is also low. And this kind of thing, you need good individual economies. People must be comfortable with this. And again, you need literacy level to be, there's a critical mass of literacy level that is required to build an economy and also to fight the fight oppression. But we don't have it. So it's a good thing, it's a good idea, but I'm just talking about sustainability. Save Nigeria tried it, and what happened? Politics, self-interest and all that, So there's so much vested interest that nobody is willing to really invest his life or time and resources to do this nation well, because the structure is wrong. Nigeria is not a nation. Nigeria is a country, because we don't have a common goal. You can see all the killing by herdsmen and all that. Everybody, Nigeria is so much divided now than ever before. So how do you want to build a nation? First of all, we should build a nation. When you build a nation, then what you're talking about, what Obasanjo is talking about the movement, will work. But this is not a nation. We don't have a nation. We have a group of people of vested interests. It could be regional interests, it could be ethnic interests, it could be tribal interests, it could be family interests, all manner of interests. We don't have a nation. We just have a group of interests. So that movement will not work. It may work for a period, but it's not sustainable. You cannot bring a change, until you build a nation. And you build a nation when you restructure. And there is justice, there is equity, there is respect for human laws and order, and human rights, political rights, economic rights of the people. These are some, and there is, brotherly love. These are the things that make a nation. But, we don't have it.
Dr. Nweze, thank you very much for appearing on our program.
Thank you.